this is the hanging hearts, yeah? Uh, it possibly wouldn't be my choice of fabric, but these are bits and bobs that I found out of my stash, and I'm going to show you how to make it. They're romantic, you know, roses, rosebuds, what have you. I thought I'd go for the old-fashioned sort of romantic theme here to make these hanging hearts. These two, I believe, are from Aldi's. No, is it Aldi's or Lidl's? Aldi's sort of fat quarters, and this is just something, I don't know where I got that from, but I found it in my stashes. So making this actually is a good stash buster, because you know, you can use up some sort of floral stuff that you may not want to use on something else. So that's my material I'm going to use. Then you will download this template, which I put up on under files, is Hanging Hearts template. So download this, yeah. And the next thing we're going to want to do, the biggest one, I've got out my 6-inch ruler, or 6.5-inch ruler. That's fine, because that's more than going to cover that heart, and then we can make smaller ones, smaller bits for the other. So first off, 6.5-inch. Now I've got to decide which material shall I use for the top one. Yeah, I think I'll use the coloured one in the middle. So I am going to use, and I like the little rosebuds because it's got a smaller print on it for the smaller one. So I am going to use this for the largest heart. Now I want to cut 2 pieces. That's a fold there, so I can come back down here, and I haven't ironed this. I should iron it really, shouldn't I? Yes, I should. I'm going to go and spray it and iron it. I've just sprayed this with Best Press, both sides, and ironed it. It's still, you know, double what's it. I just want to recheck my measurements again. If I put this on there, yep, I've got a 1/4 inch each side, which is good enough for me. Yep, because I'll show you for why. Now, I'm going to place, I haven't got a very good edge at the top, have I? And I've got selvages here. So first off, I'm going to cut myself a straight line. I must sharpen this cutting tool. So I'm putting that against my sharp line, my straight line, and I am just following around my 6.5 inches. There we are. And the nice thing about rotary board is that you can turn it. Just make sure that's all nice and neat. Yep. And then turn it again, and then I can cut off the selvage. Right, so I've got now I've got 2 6.5-inch squares for the very biggest heart. Now, with one piece, decide which you want for the front, looking at the picture, and mine doesn't really make any difference. I think I've got to take a view when I put the pattern, you know, it's a square, so you can keep turning it. Take a view when I put the pattern on. That's probably going to be the best for my front. Okay, so this one, yep. It's terrible, isn't it? If this is 6.5, then you want 3.25. I am putting 3.25 inch mark down one side, and I'm cutting it in half. You think, oh, why is she doing that? Why is she doing that? Because when you come to stuff a heart, if if you were to normally have the opening here to stuff it, it's going to mess with that lovely line. So what I'm going to do is the front is going to be cut exactly, but the back, I am now going to take this right sides together, and I am going to go and take this to the sewing machine and make a 1/4 inch seam line along there. I'm going to sew it together so that when I open it up, it's a seam. Then eventually when we cut the heart shape out, we can split the middle of that seam, stuff it and sew it back up, and that is the best way to go. So I am just going to go and sew that together. 1/4 inch 2.4 stitch length, normal stitch length for construction, 1/4 inch seam, use your 1/4 inch foot, and I'll be back to you. So now this is what I'm going to use for my front, and I have sewn a 1/4 inch seam and I've ironed it flat open. Yes, Greshner, use your clapper, get that steam, make it sit flat like mine, yeah? So that's slightly smaller than that, but it's still good enough. Get paper scissors and then cut around your pattern. Okay, so I cut around my pattern. You turn it over, it doesn't really matter which, I mean these hearts, but they should be identical. Just in case, let's turn it that way. Now, you can pin that, or because you may want to make more than one of these shapes, you could then use the friction pen. Oops. Draw around your pattern and cut it out, but to be honest with you, I want to make sure that seam is in the centre, but to be honest with you, I could use paper weights, I could use all sorts. I am just going to pin it. So I'm just pinning that a second, getting my rotary cutter, and this time I'm going to use, because there's a lot of curves, my little 25mm one. Okay, and literally cut. I might stop there and then carry on and come back with my scissors, because you need to be a bit more careful, don't you? And go into the cut, into the V, the valley of it, and into the valley of it, yeah, and then go back and then continue round with my cutter. So there I've got the back of my heart with a centre seam. Then naturally for the front of the heart, yeah, pop that back on again, yeah, and exactly the same. Off we go. I mean, if you don't feel comfortable cutting with a rotary cutter, use the scissors. I just find, and I'll leave that centre I'll come back with the scissors and tidy that up. Where have we got to? Here. Right, there's my heart. I'm not even using material scissors here, I'm using so what I want to do is make sure that my valley is cut properly. So get rid of all these scraps. That can go back for another day. Oh, I got it. Drop in there then, drop. It doesn't really matter because you can sew it anyway, but probably because I'm not using material scissors, I'm using paper scissors here. But anyway, so now, there's the front without the seam. There's the back with a seam. Now, before we put these together, I want to decorate the front. So I've got to go and look and see what I have got that is going to nicely complement this as a decorated heart. My ribbon box, my lace box, because you know I've got to find something. Let's start with my lace because I got more idea of what I want. Now I want something cream. That's cream single edged. But it's got a bit of a wrap on the top. That's broderie anglais. That's double edged. Now if only I had a double edged smaller one than that in cream, we'd be laughing. What's this? Oh Christ, that's really big, isn't it? We don't want that. Too big, too big, too big, too big. Well, that's quite nice. Now that's single edged, but I'm not sure. It's either going to be that one, I'll test it, or that one. Yeah, that's broderie anglais. That'd be nice. Oh, look at that. Look at that. There's a thought. I'm keeping that out. That's broderie anglais. That's broderie anglais. That's far too wide. That's white and I want cream, I think. So, right, I picked something I can use for lace. And let's see, ribbons now. Ribbons. Go through my ribbon. Oh, no, that's too red. Want something a darker red. Oh, that's dark red. Bits in there. Let's have a little look. Oh, that's red. This is off some sort of chocolates, I think. Oh, make a nice hairband, that. I keep ribbon from all over. There's another bit. Oh, look. Oh, I found a velvet bow. Red and white stripes. Merry Christmas, drawing that. Merry Christmas. Silver, too big. Ooh. Oh, I probably made that bow out of that. That's quite nice, that red velvet. Red velvet is kind of like Valentines, isn't it? I suppose you know. And then I got a wispy bit. No. Ooh, and I may, here's some double-sided 1/4 inch ribbon that I may want as well. See, you know, when I go ferreting pinky bits, now where's that? Not long enough, no. Ooh, very nice pinky bits. No, I'm almost sure of what I want. Right, okay. you never know until you go ferreting around what you got. I am going to go with this red velvet, which obviously somewhere in the past I've made a red velvet bow and then didn't use it for some reason or another. I'm not showing you how to make bows, but there's a red velvet bow I made. Right, so front only. Which? I want it a bit fancy. I might. Yep, I might use that. Yes, I think so. I think that fits the treat. So make it. I really don't get my materials. This is over. Make it longer than it should be, so that you've got plenty of room to work with. Yeah, and then I know this is very thin. I would have liked it a bit thicker, but I'm gonna have to go with this thin. Yeah, I'm gonna cut a bit of red velvet, you know, that I know will fit. Yep, that'll fit. There's my pin. I'll probably start. Right, now, that's much better. That's all stuck down, and I did do, you can't see because I've used completely matching thread. I have done a top line. You can see from the back. See that there are 2 rows of stitching. One along the ribbon where it meets the edge of that lace, and one along the very top to hold it down, literally less than 1/8 of an inch on both sides, so you know that's it holding it down. Okay, now then we need to put the 2 hearts together, so literally pin it. Remember I told you we're going to split this back seam to stuff it. So at the moment, we're just going to right sides together, pin the hearts together, okay, and I'll probably work from the best side, okay. Oh no, I got me, but my needle, as you can see, my needles are nowhere, my pins are nowhere near gonna affect the needle under my thing. Right, and I'm going to video this because I want to show you what to do with this V here, because there's a little trick to getting it to be able to make a nice V at the end of the day. Alright, so I'm just going to go to the machine now and show you. Right, now that's much better. That's all stuck down, and I did do, you can't see because I've used completely matching thread. I have done a top line. You can see from the back. See that there are 2 rows of stitching. One along the ribbon where it meets the edge of that lace, and one along the very top to hold it down, literally less than 1/8 of an inch on both sides, so you know that's it holding it down. Okay, now then we need to put the 2 hearts together, so literally pin it. Remember I told you we're going to split this back seam to stuff it. So at the moment, we're just going to right sides together, pin the hearts together, okay, and I'll probably work from the best side, okay. Oh no, I got me, but my needle, as you can see, my needles are nowhere, my pins are nowhere near gonna affect the needle under my thing. Okay, so you could use your 1/4 inch, but I can judge it, but there we are. Okay. 1/4 inch from the edge. Follow it all the way down to the V. Knowing that you've got 1/4 inch between the needle and the end of the fabric, twist it, come back up, follow it all the way around. When you get to these curves bits, go slowly, move it a little bit, go slowly, keep in that 1/4 inch, and then when you get onto the V, well, one stitch before the valley of the V, put it straight and do 2 stitches across. 1, 2. Trust me, this will stop the V puckering and will give you a much sharper V. Then once you've done that, realign and continue to sew round, moving the fabric as we go. Just lifting my foot here, I don't know why I got a bit of a... Anyway, doesn't matter. And when you get back to your original stitching, as I have now, overstitch that by a few stitches to lock it in place. Now, I still got the burgundy on here that I use for the ribbon. As you can see, it's very, very fine. But that's okay, doesn't matter. So now I've been round and I've done my 1/4 inch all the way around. Next thing we do, let's make sure I've got my stitch ripper with me. Ooh. Yep, I've got my stitch ripper. Let's go back to the desk. Okay, first thing we need to do is to cut off on the excess ribbon, because we don't need that anymore. And I forgot to put my bow on, never mind. And take our pins out. I could have put that bow on, but I didn't. Never mind. I think it's fine as it is. Then, if you have some scissors like these, around the curve, just around the curves, you could use them, which will allow the curves to sit in better. Okay, you can cut off the very tip of the bottom of the heart. Don't cut your stitch in, yeah? And then the last thing to do is right into the V, make a little snip, just, you know, not into the stitching, but make a little snip in there to give it a bit of movement. If you don't have any of these scissors, then you would just need to do little tiny cuts all around, yeah? So the next thing is, take your stitch, your quick unpick or stitch ripper, Jack the Ripper, whatever he's called, right? And then, obviously separating the two a bit, just dig in. You don't want it right to the top and you don't want it too close to the bottom. But take your stitch ripper, thread only, which is Easier said than done. Oh. When having made a hole, I'll show you how easy it can be. Right, but I've just got to get in for a minute. I just got to get in, find the stitch. There. Oh, now I'm in. Right. See, I'm in. Once you're in, there's no stopping you. Then you put the ball so that you're not hurting anything, and then you can rip a few more, pull it a bit. Now, that's enough. I don't want to go too far that way, and I definitely don't want to go too far that way. How big have I got? Actually, that's enough. So very gently, because the more you pull on this, the more likely you are to rip that stitch more, which, you know, the more you rip, the more you want to sew up. So we are going to very gently pull our hearts through. Come on, do as you're told. Yep. Very, very gently, gently. There he comes. Pulling the hearts through. You okay, baby? Yeah, you coming. Right, and you come there. What are you doing? Not a lot. Right. Then you want your turning tool. Now at the pointy end of this turning tool, I'm going to use gently, whoops, on pointy end of my heart. Yeah. Then with the other end, which is a curved end, I go round the curves, pushing out the seam with a beveled curve end. Bring it back, sweeping it against the seam. Right. All the way round till we get back to there. Now, oh, let's see, we've got a flat end here, which we didn't want. I'll just do it one more time, and that, I'm not happy with that point yet either, and that's not good. Right, sweeping it round. Right, and I'm going to take the pointy end now and just have another little go. Oh, so much better. Right, another little go at the end of my heart. There, now. Why won't you come out, you little sod? It will with the stuff in. Right, that's better. Now, I've got a nice heart that we're ready to stuff.